Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, weatherweb.net, and it is Monday the 10th of June. Thanks again for watching. A reminder that the site's kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen and by you coming back into the site and using the site. It's that generates the revenue that keeps us free of charge, so thank you for doing that. I've been taking a look more at the medium to longer term during the course of today, just trying to get a feel for where we're going with things. Some confusing signals coming out, but I think we've developed a story now, and I'll show you that in just a second. But over the next few days, what we've got is high pressure centred east of us just at the moment. We've got this front that's moving its way in from the west. It's currently through Ireland, edging its way eastwards. So there's your chart for midday on Tuesday. You see the fronts have got eastwards. Bits and pieces of light rain through Wales, southwest England and Wales by then. But for many northern and eastern areas, it's another dry day. Fronts have passed east through Wednesday. I think many areas dry on Wednesday across northern England, parts of the Midlands, northern parts of Ireland. Rain through Scotland though, and I think we could find some heavier bursts of rain coming into southern parts of England and the southern parts of Ireland later on. But jury is out on this one. I just think probably best to work on Wednesday being a more unsettled and breezier day. So the flow right round into the west on a Thursday, fronts clearing their way eastwards, taking some early showers with them. I think dry weather then following from the west as a ridge builds in. Just watch this area of rain down here. Make sure it doesn't just zip northeastwards late on Thursday, bringing some hefty bursts of rain. I don't think it will at the moment, but it is going to be clearing eastwards. We just need to watch it, I think, and just see how that develops. And then for Friday, ridge of high pressure builds in, low pressure out towards the west. I think in many areas it's going to be dry, probably within there it's a dry weather. But out towards the west, I think we'll find outbreaks of rain come again as this low zips its way in, one or two of them heavy. I think I should emphasise that this week isn't going to be a washout. It's just going to be slightly more unsettled than it has been for a while. And then for Saturday, well, we're left with a west-southwesterly flow, low pressure up towards the northwest. It's that's going to be generating some showers. I think generally high pressure is in across southern and eastern areas, keeping it dry, just one or two showers across the west. Now, as I said, we're focused on what's going to happen later on in the forecast period. This is the chart for Sunday the 16th. You see, this is from the Canadian GEM model. We've got low pressure up towards the north here, but what's interesting me is the 500 millibar flow. You see we've got a ridge here, then we dip down into a shortwave trough here. Well, this ridge is quite interesting to see what happens to it. You notice how by midday on the 17th, look, that ridge has built its way eastwards, getting ever closer. Still got this shortwave trough through the UK, but with the ridge coming in, it's that's building up high pressure, which is indicating again that we're going to go drier during the early part of next week. Now that ridge is then built right the way through the country. Look, by the time we get into next Tuesday, there's the accompanying high here. I'm going to change the colour here. That's down towards the southwest. But notice this little cut-off feature here. Now the GEM then keeps that little cut-off feature across the southern parts of France, keeps our ridge in there by, this is the closer play on Wednesday going into next Thursday. But it's this high up here that's all important to see what happens to it. The GEM trying to get the jet back in here, look, somehow. So always keeps northern and western Scotland at risk of seeing some rain, but keeps most of the UK under drier, warmer conditions. But for me, what's interesting is noticing this easterly flow developing. That raises some questions. This is the chart from the ECMWF for the same time. So this is the end of Wednesday into Thursday. Now, first of all, interesting to note that both the GEM and ECMWF and also the GFS Ensemble all back up this idea of the ridge being split, a high developing out towards the east, high in the Atlantic, and a low down over some parts of Central Europe. Where that low is going to be is critical. Look what happens here. This low gets cut off by the ECMWF. We get this link through of the two areas of high pressure towards the north and the west, towards the east and the west of the UK. And this one then builds in this easterly flow. Now, what that means is that temperatures rise. This could be quite a hot spell of weather across central and southern parts of England. However, and this is the big however, with this low so close by, there's going to be some thundery rain around. What happens to that low is absolutely critical as to how our weather develops. Now, what I think will happen is the low gets cut off. It then zips, let me change the colour again, into here. So it gets itself into the eastern parts of Iberia, into the western parts of the Mediterranean. It then brings this east to southeasterly flow through the southern half of the UK. It brings very warm conditions. We could be looking at 28 to possibly 30 degrees plus on this sort of flow. Scotland, Northern England and Northern Ireland are cooler simply because of that easterly flow, but we could still look at 25 degrees in western parts of Scotland. But I do think southern England, we need to be catering for the threat of some thundery showers. But the overall impression of the weather is dry conditions and very warm conditions possibly coming in. Now, early days, things can change, but it's interesting that the models are all following the same lines and hinting that this warm, dry weather could be coming in. So let's have a look at some of the other indicators. This is the MJO, and this is the MJO from the ECMWF Ensemble. And what this is doing, and it's quite interesting to notice, let me just expand that a little bit. Let's do it like that. This is for the period from the 7th of June through to the 8th of July. Now, what is interesting here is that it's this green line here that we want to follow. What's interesting is that by the time we're getting into around about the 12th, which is here, okay, so that's going to be Wednesday, it's taken us into phase 5. Now, it's only a week phase 5, but what phase 5 is indicative of is quite a non-definite phase pattern, and then it takes us into phase 6. Now, phase 6 typically, what we find in the early stages of phase 6 is quite a neutral NAO, but with some Scandinavian blocking. Now, with that area of high pressure developing towards the east, this is around about the 18th, and high pressure was developing across the east then on the ECMWF operational. So it kind of backs up this idea of the high pressure being there. Phase 7 then takes us into a heavily negative NAO, and that's around the 25th. That's an easterly, okay? So you see how this is building this picture of that high getting in, of that easterly flow developing again, and of the Scandinavian blocking getting back in. This is building my picture of the 20th of June through to, I think we could be looking at the 10th to 15th of July as potentially being a dry, warm period. I think this could be, I don't want you to run away with any ideas at the moment. You know, I just show you things and I open my mind up and I tell you how things are going here. This could be our main summer period. It could be, we could be looking at some very warm weather and some very dry weather, although possibly not in the very far south of England, where there could be some thundery rain at times. So this is what I'm thinking at the moment, and this is part of my thought process going through, is that we're getting back up from the various models that this period looks to be going into a negative NAO, which brings us into an easterly. Now, something you have to bear in mind is that the NAO and the MJO aren't great. They don't give you such strong guidance through the summer months, but given that that is there, I still think this is what we're going to go for. And if that comes true, then my summer forecast isn't looking too bad. And the reason I say that is because this is what we initially went for at the end of April, okay? And the important factor to notice here is, look, we spoke about this, the southwestern areas seeing a later risk of increased amounts of rainfall, and later on in the summer, so getting into late July into August, and that seems to be what's happening just at the moment. I'm happier with everything else, but it's quite interesting to see. Also interesting to see how warm Western Scotland is just at the moment. We've got 24 degrees this afternoon. It's been very, very warm for the last few days, and the eastern coasts have been cooler. So at the moment, I'm happy with the way this summer forecast is going. And I told you we keep referring back to it. I'm not going to run and hide from this. It'll just be interesting to see how it works out. Okay, hope I haven't hit you with too much information there. Just wanted to get that out to you. But thanks for staying with it. Don't forget, you can just rewind and watch any parts of the video that you didn't understand or that I was talking too quickly over. But for now, thanks for watching. Please do tell your friends about us. Spread the word about weatherweb.net. And thanks for your continued support. You can follow us on Twitter at Weather School, or you can follow at WXWeb. And you do a search on Facebook for Weather School as well. And remember, we kept free of charge because of you coming back, using the site, and using the adverts that are on there. So once again, thank you for doing that. Have a great day and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.